Graffiti within and throughout Brisbane City is everywhere. This visual, usually unsanctioned form of art has become increasingly controversial. Artists who choose the street as their gallery often do so in hopes to communicate directly with the public at large, free from the confines of the formal art world. This is done in an attempt to stimulate, provoke, or inspire citizens. It is also a form of self-expression, which is something frequently overlooked. So what other misconceptions surrounding the issue of graffiti exist in modern society? Is it justified? Is it misunderstood? And most importantly, is it art or is it vandalism?
It is dependent on whether that graffiti is tagging or actually artistic.
It's vandalism if it's ugly, and I think it's street art if they've done it really well.
Street art, really, not vandalism.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, street art.
It's vandalism.
I consider it street art.
Graffiti is vandalism.
Oh, I think it's street art.
Yeah, well, I think it depends. I love it.
I think it depends where it is. It really depends where the graffiti is.
Depends what district you're in.
I suppose it very much depends on the context.
I guess it just depends if it's tasteful or not.
Because it depends. I think it depends.
It depends.
Depends.
I'm mixed on that.
I'm here with Harry Lilwall, a local graffiti artist. He's been painting since he was about 15 years old. So Harry, can you tell me what got you into it?
I just noticed it like on the train tracks and that just like inspired me to start.
Why do you do graffiti?
I do graffiti just because it's like an art form that appeals to me, I guess. Like I never was like artistic or anything until I just started like drawing my book and that and like practicing.
Where do you normally paint?
I normally like to paint like on the train line or like in drains or like just under a bridge.
Drawing on public property, it's a no-go.
Graffiti is an issue often dealt with by Queensland Police. Stephen is a local officer and here to speak to us about the issue.
Here in Queensland, the maximum penalty for someone caught vandalising a piece of property, for example with graffiti, is actually 5 years imprisonment, which seems pretty harsh.
I would draw a distinction between tagging and street art.
What is tagging though?
And tagging's just writing your name.
Tagging's like more like gang graffiti, like it's just like people like just tagging on fences and private property, whereas like graffiti I do is like more like pieces.
Tagging, I would say, is not an art form. It's more vandalism.
A big misconception is people think that like all graffiti is just like tagging on the streets and just tagging everywhere you can, like just destroying property, whereas like I think like most graffiti these days is just people like actually like doing pieces and that.
To be honest, I think some of these young people that put the graffiti up are really talented, and some of them really are quite good. But again, they've probably put them in the wrong place, where they shouldn't be, and that then becomes a crime.
If you could say anything to someone who disagrees with what you do creatively, what would it be?
Look into it more. I assume that like people are not going to like it just because they don't really understand it. Like, they just don't know why we would be doing it and that. I guess I can see how it would come off as like, it's like bad.
Society has conflicting views on graffiti and street art depending on factors such as location and aesthetic. But the value of these creative expressions are often overlooked, especially when being confused with tagging. So what is your view? Is this creative outlet a positive or negative art form for our society?